So how does one solve absolute value equations? Hi, I'm Jimmy Chang. I've been teaching college mathematics for 9 years, and absolute value equations are actually a pretty straightforward process once you understand what some of the prerequisites are as to the structure of an equation before solving it. So let's do an example and you'll see how this works. Now, we have an absolute value equation of 2x plus 3 absolute value equals to 7. Now, two things you definitely want to keep in mind before solving it. One, you need to be sure that the absolute value portion is completely by itself. It really helps if that's the case because it'll make solving the equation much easier. The other prerequisite that we want to consider is that make sure that on the other side of the absolute value is a positive number or 0. The only reason we have to be sure of that is because absolute value, remember, is the distance. The distance between a number and 0 on the number line. Distances are never negative. So the lowest number you should have on the other side is 0, 0 and above. If you have a negative number, you don't really have to do it because there's no solution. But once you make sure that both of those conditions are met, you can split them up as two separate equations. Now, think about the number 7 for a minute. There's two numbers whose distance from 0 is 7. There's the number 7, which is 7 units away from 0, and there's negative 7, which is also 7 units away from 0. So with that said, you're going to take this absolute value and you're going to break it up as two separate equations. 2x plus 3 is equal to 7, and 2x plus 3 is equal to negative 7. Again, the reason you break it up as to 7 and negative 7 is because both of those numbers are 7 units away from 0. So with the first equation, it's a pretty straightforward equation. Go ahead and solve for x. First, subtract 3 on both sides. So you have 2x equals to 4. And then divide both sides by 2. You have x is equal to 2. So one answer is x is equal to 2. You do the exact same thing for the second equation. Subtract 3 on both sides. You're going to get 2x equal to negative 7, and a negative 3 is going to give you negative 10. And then divide both sides by 2, and you'll have x equals to negative 5. A lot of absolute value equations will have two answers, but once in a while you might get one, but you might also get more than two equations. It all depends on what the situation happens to be. So, I'm Jimmy Chang, and that's an intro on how to do absolute value equations.